Meet Eric W. Schaefert, author of Blind Faith, Blind Ambition. Listen to how we can achieve our dreams and goals without selling our souls.
Well, good morning, everyone. Let me say what a real honor, what a real pleasure it is to be here today to spend the next 25 or 30 minutes with each of you to discuss a number of things that I believe everyone in this room has in common. One of these things is we have this special human capacity, this really big human capacity, huge capacity to dream. Seriously, to dream about the type of life that we want in terms of finding meaning, fulfillment, success, achievement, validation. It's part of the human condition. It's part of this journey that we call life to have dreams like this. Something else that we have in common is the desire to manifest those dreams. You know, it's one thing to have our dreams, right? But we don't want our dreams to remain just dreams. We want to see the manifestation and a realization of them. There's one other very important thing, though, that everybody in this room has in common. In fact, everybody on this planet has in common. And that is, every one of us, every last single one of us, has a story to tell. Some type of a story to tell about having to deal with adversity, challenge, difficulty, disappointment, loss, heartbreak, maybe even tragedy on some level as we make our way along this journey that we call life. And by putting this on the table here at the outset, this isn't meant to be negative, it's not meant to be pessimistic, it's just called normal. It's just called normal. It's just called life. Stuff happens. Stuff happens to each and every one of us as we make our way along on this journey that we call life. And I'm certainly no exception. Far from it. Stuff has happened to me. By the ripe old age of 10, I had already cheated death twice. And the second time, instead of losing my life, I was told that I was very, very lucky. Because instead of losing my life, instead, I was just completely, permanently blinded in one eye for what would be the remainder of my life. And that was just the beginning. Because not only was there the blindness that a young boy had to deal with, but also the profound cosmetic impact of that accident for so many years. I was just 10 years old at the time. 8 years later, I went off to college in the pursuit of my degree in business. And, you know, the scary thing, the crazy thing, it seems like it was just yesterday, but it was many, many years ago. And I can still picture in my mind's eye that very first day was actually on October 2nd. It was a beautiful fall day, probably about 70 degrees, beautiful sunny day. I just picked up my fall schedule of classes. I was looking my schedule over for the next several weeks. And to give you a sense of perspective, if somebody had come up to me on that beautiful fall day in October and said something like this: Eric, I'd like to talk to you for a couple of minutes. You see, I have this crystal ball here, and I have this unique ability. I can not only look into the past, but I can also look into the future. And by looking into the past, I can see that you indeed were knocked down by a life event. In fact, you were almost, to use a figure of speech, knocked out permanently by that event at that time in your life. But you know, I can look into the future. I have this capacity. I can look into the future. And as I look years down the road, these are the companies that you are going to find yourself associated with. And then at one point in your career, you're going to be offered a position with one of the world's largest medical companies. And this is what's going to happen to you with this fine organization. These are the things that you're going to experience. This is what you're going to achieve. This is the success that you will achieve. And ultimately, this is how you're going to be recognized for your accomplishments. In fact, you are going to find your way where you were born in Mahoning County, about an hour and 15 minutes southeast of Cleveland, you are going to find your way all the way from Mahoning County to Mar-a-Lago. And it's at Mar-a-Lago that your company is going to recognize you after reaching a high point in your career from within the corporate arena. You know, if somebody had approached me on that beautiful fall day in October and told me that my life would unfold like this, I would have said the chances of these things happening to this tall, thin young man born into a blue-collar working-class family who was literally and figuratively blinded and blindsided by a life event, I would have said, no way. No way. I would have said the chances of those things happening to me, seriously, would be slim and none. And Slim just left town. But one of the reasons why I'm here with each of you today is to share with you not only that I did find my way, but more importantly, how I found my way in life. You know, being at Mar-a-Lago, it's a beautiful place in the southeastern part of the United States. A beautiful, beautiful location. There's a lot of history surrounding Mar-a-Lago, dating all the way back to the beginning of the century, and you should look it up. It's a very, very beautiful place. But I spent a week there in March, a number of years ago, and it was a very emotional experience, especially for me, and especially the last evening there. You know, all week long I asked myself the $64,000 question. You know, I just reached a high point in my career from within the corporate arena. So I was asking myself so many questions. What's next? What do I want to do with my life moving forward? More importantly, what do I need to do with my life moving forward? The answer came to me on the last evening at Mar-a-Lago, which was actually my birthday. I knew I wanted to give back. The question that I had to answer was, how was I going to give back? I really wanted to reach everyone, as many people as I could, to know and believe, to truly know and believe, that any dream that you have is within reach. So I decided to author a book. This really was another journey of faith. You know, I had never authored a book before. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have an editor. I didn't have a publisher. The only thing, the most important thing that I had was the dream. And even more importantly than the dream was the faith in God to pursue that dream. And I thought about it deeply, and I turned the outcome, the pursuit of this dream, over to Him, and I trusted Him. I believed in Him. I thought if it was His will that this dream, this new dream, would manifest for me. And really, I think a miracle happened. It took me quite a while to write Blind Faith, Blind Ambition, A Vision for Success. And almost a year to the day, after I had finished with the manuscript, Blind Faith, Blind Ambition was not only published and released, but the people, the fine people that stepped forward to give praise to this endeavor of mine, to endorse Blind Faith, Blind Ambition, I will be forever indebted to and grateful to for the rest of my life. One of these special people was actually a Wall Street Journal national best-selling author. Her name is Michelle R. Donovan. She wrote another great book, actually it was called The 29% Solution. Another great book, a national bestseller. And not only has Michelle given me some kind, wonderful words of praise about Blind Faith, Blind Ambition, which graced the inside cover of my book, but also another fine author, Maria Berdusco, who wrote How to Think Like a Leader. Her words graced the inside cover of Blind Faith, Blind Ambition. And one other very special gentleman, William Weil, wrote another great book. His words about Blind Faith, Blind Ambition, I really feel captured the essence of this endeavor of mine in a very special way. Because William said, Blind Faith, Blind Ambition is about achieving our dreams and goals without selling our souls. And I think that's critically important. We have our dreams, right? We want to manifest those dreams, but it's just as important on how we manifest those dreams. And that's part of the reason why I'm here today, is to spend the next few minutes or so talking to you about blind faith, blind ambition, some of the things that I've written about, some of the things that have led to change, have led to transformation in my life, but more importantly, can lead to change and transformation in your lives, that can lead to the manifestation and the realization of your dreams, whatever those dreams may be. One of the things that I'm very, very passionate about, and I write extensively about it in Blind Faith, Blind Ambition, is how I define success. Success is really about pursuit, in my opinion. It's not about outcome. And some of you with me here today, you may start to question or maybe even disagree with me that you know, hey, if you have a dream and you're going to pursue the dream, you obviously want the desired outcome, right? I mean, it's just human nature. It's normal. But I remain steadfast in my belief that whatever pursuit it is that you're pursuing, the real definition of not only success, but also meaning and fulfillment is the pursuit of that goal, the pursuit of that dream. Now, outcome is very, very important. I don't mean to minimize how important outcome is. I mean, I've worked in the sales and marketing industry now for well over 30 years, and every month for the last 30-some years, I get a sales analysis report that ranks me not only within the company that I work for, but also the companies that I compete against. So if anybody knows how important outcome is, it's yours truly. But I really remain steadfast that this journey that we call life, it begins and ends with pursuit, as does the pursuit of our dreams. It's all about pursuit. And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about pursuit, it doesn't matter what your dream is, it doesn't matter really what you want to do with your life, there's always a basic set of fundamentals. Basics, fundamentals, or as somebody said, a lecture that I attended about 10 years ago in San Francisco, the gentleman said it's not only about the basics and the fundamentals in the pursuit of your dream, it's about the flawless and consistent implementation, the execution of those fundamentals. So what this gentleman, I believe, was trying to convey, you really have to be a person who's willing to do what it takes in the pursuit of your dream. And you know, it doesn't really matter what the dream is. It doesn't really matter really what you want to do with your life. If you want to be a physician, if you have an aspiration to be a lawyer, an engineer, an accountant, an educator, a yoga teacher, a football coach, even a priest, even a reverend, even a pastor, there's always a basic template, some type of a structure, some type of a scaffolding, some type of a roadmap that's been left behind by others who traveled a similar path before, who would turn to you and say to you, look it, if this is really what you want to do with your life, I can show you the way. I can mentor you. And that's why relationships are so important as we make our way on this journey that we call life, not only personal relationships, but obviously professional relationships as well. The number one most important relationship, though, that we can have is with Him, our Creator, with God. It all starts with Him. That really needs to be the foundation with anything in life, and I'll discuss in more detail why I believe that truly is the case. But again, it's about pursuit. There's another perspective, though, that I really want to share with you this morning about this notion of pursuit. And you know, I actually heard these words when I was a freshman in college. You know, actually my very first year in the pursuit of my degree in business. And it's kind of interesting as I reflect on my collegiate experience. You know, again, I was a business major, and but that very first year away at school, I had a number of other classes outside the business realm, and there was this literature class that I found myself in actually that very first week away at college. This professor was in the three things. He was in the poets, poetry, and poems. And I got to be transparent, honest, candid with you folks here this morning. as an 18-year-old young man, full of my dreams and ambitions, the last thing that I was interested in was poets, poetry, and poems. You know, when I entered college, I was on a mission. I was there to get into college and to get out as quickly as I could so that I could get on with my pursuits, not only in the world of business, but the business of life. But I believe on some level it may have been divine intervention that I was in that class on that particular fall day, because he was not only into poets, poetry, and poems, but specific Kipling. Rudyard Kipling in his poem, If. You know, this poem is an incredible poem. And I believe when Kipling sat down to write the words to this poem, I think he was moved. He was trying to express himself not only realistically, but metaphorically about this journey that we call life being about pursuit. It's about 18 or 19 lines in length, but I've committed 4 or 5 lines to memory from this incredibly inspirational poem. And it goes like this. If you can meet with triumph and disaster. So Kipling was expressing himself metaphorically, either end of the spectrum, success or failure in the pursuit of our dreams, victory or defeat. If you can meet with triumph and disaster, he says, and treat these both, think about this, both as imposters, either end of the spectrum, both as imposters, Kipling said the earth and everything that is in it can be yours. And what's more, you will then become a man. You will then become a woman. You know, every time I read those words, every time I recite those words, there's such a feeling of inspiration that I feel inside, because what Kipling was trying to say, this journey that we call life, it begins and ends with pursuit. And it's also about finding the courage to step onto that metaphoric playing field, that metaphoric arena, wherever it may be, specific to your dreams and goals. Put yourself out there, step onto that arena, and then not only pursue your dreams and goals, but then not let anyone, family, friend, or foe, determine.
If you would like to know more about Eric Schaefert or his book, Blind Faith, Blind Ambition, please go to his website at ericschaefert.com.
And then not let anyone, family, friend, or foe, determine who you are, how good you are, what you're capable of, what your potential is, by whether you succeed or fail. You know, every time I hear these words, I'm so inspired. Every time I read these words, recite these words, I'm so inspired. But now you have a question. Every one of you with me today has a question. It's another one of those $64,000 questions. And I intend to answer it as best I can. The question that you have, the question that I know that you have, is where do you find the courage to step onto that metaphoric playing field, that metaphoric arena, wherever it may be, specific to your dreams and goals? Because let's face it, if you have a dream, I know it's special. And if your dream is special, it's not easy. And if it's not easy, fear is often a very real part of the equation. And one of the reasons why I believe fear is part of this equation, putting yourself out there, is our focus, seriously, our focus isn't where it should be. Our focus is on the outcome where it should be placed upon our life's purpose. It should be on the pursuit. It should be on the implementation and the basics of the fundamentals specific to whatever dream that it is that you're trying to manifest for yourself. Well, where you find the courage to step into that arena, where you find the courage to put yourself out there and pursue your dreams and goals, it's really a one-word answer. It's a simple answer, but it's not easy. The answer to that $64,000 question is faith. Faith in God, faith in Him, faith in that divine force, that divine entity, that divine being that created you, that created me, that created each and every one of us. I believe it really has to start with anything in life. The foundation has to be faith in Him. This was a gift, this incredible transformational gift of faith in God, faith in Him, was given to me by an incredible woman who came into my life within hours after my birth. And she would be a very inspirational part of my life for the first 33 years. And it was only 4 years after she passed that I really come to fully appreciate and understand just what a transformational, powerful gift of faith in God can be. Because to be honest, to be totally transparent here, what happened to a young boy many, many years ago was nothing short of truly devastating. You see, it was a beautiful summer day in June many, many years ago, and this young boy was actually sitting on his bicycle just beyond third base, just outside the base path with his back turned towards home plate, actually chatting with one of his buddies. And while he was sitting there on his bicycle with his back turned towards home plate, the next batter stepped into the batter's box, and this young man, I would imagine he had to be 17 or 18 at the time, tall, thin young man, muscular man, long wavy black hair, by far the best athlete on the field that day. And as fate would have it, this young man crushed. He drilled the very first pitch, a screaming rocket of a line drive right up third baseline, but just outside the base path. And at the very moment that he made contact with the ball, this young boy turned back towards home plate at the sound of the crack of the bat. The sheer power of that line drive caught this young boy squarely in the left eye, catapulted him completely off of his bicycle. By the time he hit the ground, he was out cold, completely unconscious for 5 minutes. It was a miracle, he was later told, that he did not die instantly. He was later told the only thing that saved him is that he turned. Had he not turned, the impact, the sheer power of that line drive would have hit him squarely in the left temple. To use a baseball metaphor, it would have been lights out, ball game over, literally, figuratively, and permanently for that young boy. But he turned, and just like that, in an instant, his world was destined to change forever. By the time he came to, over 5 minutes later, you couldn't even recognize the left-hand side of his face. This young boy had to be carried home. He would spend over a month in the hospital. Over a month, the first 2 weeks, an absolute, total, complete darkness following major surgery to stop the massive internal hemorrhaging and bleeding. One could only imagine the fear, the anxiety, the doubt in a young boy's mind. If he would survive, if he would ever see again, or if there was any hope for this young boy to see any of his life's dreams come true. Well, a couple of days before they finally removed his bandages, he began to hear from everybody involved with his medical care just how lucky he was. Well, if it's one thing I can tell you, when they finally removed his bandages after 2 weeks, and he could see for the first time in 2 weeks that he was going to be forever, permanently, completely blind in one eye for the remainder of his life, in addition to having to deal with the cosmetic impact of that accident for so many years thereafter. If it's one thing I can guarantee you, that young boy did not feel lucky. At that time in his life, this young boy didn't have perspective. Because at that time in his life, he could only see then what was taken from him. But years later, he would truly understand and see just how lucky he was, because when he returned home from the hospital, waiting for him there was actually an angel, a woman, a very special woman whose name was Mary Helen. Mary Helen Stratton, who taught this young boy all about the transformational power of faith in God. Absolute trust, absolute belief, absolute faith in Him. She would tell this young boy, if it's one thing that I can guarantee you, every one of us is going to stumble. Every one of us is going to fall at some point on this journey that we call life. And some of us will fall a number of times. Some of us may even fall a lot. But the one thing that you have to know and believe is God is always at your side. And especially so when you fall. And He will be the one to help you get up. He will be the one to help you find your way. He will be the one who will get you to know and believe that with Him and through Him and in Him, any dream is within reach. And she would say you could choose to believe in Him and His presence, or you can choose not to. Either way, He's there. But the sooner you believe in Him, the sooner you have trust in Him, the sooner you will come to know and believe that any dream that you have is within reach. You know, it says so in the book of Matthew. It says, all things are possible with God. You know, those words are there not because they sound good, but they're there because they are indeed the truth. They're the truth. You know, what I have discovered on my journey is when we have faith in God, we turn outcome over to God in the pursuit of our dreams. And when we turn outcome, you know, it's been written, it's been said many, many times, let go and let God. It also says that faith without works is meaningless. And that's why it's all about pursuit as well as faith in God. And pursuit's about being that person who's willing to do what it takes in the pursuit of your dreams and turning the outcome of those dreams over to Him while we pursue. What I have discovered on my journey, and I believe what you will discover, is when you start with faith in Him, and you pursue your dreams and trust in Him as you pursue your dreams, at some point down the road, you will begin to develop a belief in yourself, in your power to manifest, in your power to create. You know, God not only gives us our lives, He also gives us our dreams. And it's His desire and it's His wish for us to manifest our dreams. Because when we manifest the dreams given to us by Him, we give glory to the one who gave us those dreams. And when we manifest our dreams, I also believe it's His desire and it's His wish for us to give back. To give back. To help others find their way in life. To help others see the manifestation and the realization of their dreams. And with faith and pursuit, you will not only develop a belief and a power in yourself and your ability to manifest and create, you will then make a leap of faith. And here's the way it comes together. It starts with faith in Him, which ultimately leads to a faith in ourselves. And when we get to that point, we then can make a leap of faith. And a leap of faith really is not about faith at all. A leap of faith rather is about a knowing, an absolute certainty that with faith in Him and faith in ourselves, we do have the power to create and manifest. And with faith and pursuit empowered, enabled a young boy blinded in a tragic event many, many years ago to find his way from Mahoning County to Mar-a-Lago. And in a sense, in a metaphoric sense, every one of you in the room here today, everybody on this planet, in a metaphoric sense, is from Mahoning County. It doesn't matter where Mahoning County is. It doesn't matter whether it's Portland, Oregon, or Portland, Maine, or at some point in between. It's just that place where we started our journey, your journey, this journey that we call life. But we also have, everyone has the exact same desired destination. That destination is in fact Mar-a-Lago. Yes, Mar-a-Lago is a very real, incredibly beautiful destination. But it's also that metaphoric destination where you ultimately see the manifestation and the realization of your dreams, of your goals. And with faith and pursuit, every one of you with me today can find your way to Mar-a-Lago, wherever Mar-a-Lago is for you. You know, there's just a couple other things that I'd like to share with you today as I start to wind down my discussion. You know, there's a very special chapter in Blind Faith, Blind Ambition. It's chapter 10. The title of this chapter is Don't Die with Your Music Still Inside. Don't die with your music still inside. This chapter is rich with reality and it's rich with metaphor as well. This chapter is actually dedicated to the memory of my late father, who passed on his birthday about 18 years ago. My father not only passed on his birthday, but he also passed on Father's Day. You see, my father's life was music. My father was a very talented musician, songwriter, and composer. He studied piano from the age of 4. And by the time he graduated from high school in the late 1940s, he was an incredibly talented, gifted pianist, songwriter, musician, composer. His life was music. And although my father died on his birthday, and although it was Father's Day, my father didn't die with his music still inside. The music given to him by his Father, our Father above. You see, every one of us carries a special kind of a music around inside of ourselves. And this music is different for every one of us. And for some people, like my father, his music was music. For the rest of us, our music is something different. It's tied into what your dreams are. It's tied into what you want to do with your life. It's tied into how you want to express your life. But the last thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to die with our music still inside. We don't want to go to the grave. We don't want to end up on the other side of the dirt without ever having our music heard. And with faith and pursuit, your music will indeed be heard. I can guarantee it. You know, Carl Jung wrote a book decades ago. It's a 400-page book. It's called Modern Man in Search of a Soul. There are 2 lines from that 400-page book that are worth the price of the book. This is what Carl Jung also had to say metaphorically, I believe, about pursuit. He said, what was once true in the morning, in the afternoon will become a lie. What was once true in the morning, in the afternoon will become a lie. What he was trying to say, as each of us makes our way through this journey that we call life, there are going to be doors and windows of opportunity that will open wide, really big, huge wide, for each and every one of us, that will allow us to pursue, chase, and manifest so many of our dreams and goals. And when these doors and windows of opportunity open, we will then be in the morning of our lifetime, or at least in the morning of that particular stage of our lifetime. But at some point, those doors and windows of opportunity close. And when they close, we will cross over them. And we will then be in the afternoon of our lifetime, or at least in the afternoon of that particular stage of our lifetime. And when those doors and windows of opportunity close, any hope, any dream, any desire that you may have had to pursue, let alone manifest your dreams, may be forever lost. What was once true in the morning, in the afternoon, will become a lie. In closing, there's just a couple other thoughts I'd like to share with you. And a couple of wishes that I also have for each and every one of you with me here today. Number 1, continue to dream. Continue to dream about the life that you want. And also continue to pursue those dreams. That's why we were given our life, to pursue our dreams. And last but not least, may each and every one of you find a faith in Him that will sustain you in the pursuit of your dreams. May God bless each and every one of you in the pursuit of your dreams. And for those of you that would like to learn more about blind faith, blind ambition, please visit my website. It's ericschafert.com. Again, that's ericschafert.com. Again, the book is Blind Faith, Blind Ambition. And God bless each and every one of you for being here with me today. Thank you.
Blind Faith, Blind Ambition can inspire you to know and believe any dream is within reach. Blind Faith, Blind Ambition can be ordered online at either ericschafert.com or at amazon.com. Thank you for being with us today. May you always have faith in the pursuit of your dreams.